homes may change hands more frequently, so you may not know what you're going to be getting in terms of new tenants, but municipal and government buildings are fairly stable, so retrofitting them right now for the long haul makes a lot of sense. Oh, let's take a look at this one.
Yes,
the cost of poor performance.
The temperature in your office building will always be unbearably hot or unbearably cold, never somewhere in between. And of course, if it's hot someplace and cold somewhere else, the average is fine, and people say, gee, what's your problem? But comfort in buildings is really, really important to efficiency.
Yes, you can have someone over here freezing, another over here who's hot, and the question becomes, how can you manage the energy in that building so that it can be more comfortable, and maybe having different controls in different rooms, changing the venting or the ventilation in some way, the airflow, so a lot of things.
And there's a lot of...
And changing just the ergonomics, getting desks away from cold windows. So a lot of different things can happen to make it
And technology
more comfortable.
is unbelievable how technology is changing. We have presentations 1 to 2 times a month by vendors to us about what's new in technology in different areas. And some of the boiler applications that are coming over from Europe, wish the American companies would get on board, some terrific boiler technologies that are multi-fuel, so that you can use wood pellets and other types of fuels, and incredibly efficient. But we usually look at, for example, boiler technology last, because we seal the building, get the insulation right, and then size, because we find a lot of buildings oversized with their boilers. And an oversized boiler is an inefficient boiler.
Yeah. And I think getting the right person in who's got the expertise to take a look at this is critical, so you can get your information fairly quickly rather than having to shop around and second guess yourself for other people. So, why build green?
We've talked about energy mostly, but there are other aspects of green building, which we talked about before in LEED. Water savings, the productivity of which we just really mentioned, the hot and the cold affects productivity, the environment that you're working with, the health, the air quality. If you seal, for example, seal a building too tight, then the air quality will diminish, and you have to have effective controls measuring CO2 levels and actually power vent the building. But so there is and of course the operating cost of the building will be a lot lower. And with respect to LEED, there's a marketing and PR piece of it.
Yes, I have discovered that too. I was talking to some big building owners in Boston a few weeks ago, and they have tenants who are much happier about being tenants in their green buildings. So tenants are being very sensitive to where they are taking their businesses these days, and having a green building is a great attraction for building owners.
And commercial, and that raises a very interesting issue that we're trying to address, which is you've got a tenant with a lease, and you've got a building owner who owns the building. And the building owner the tenant is paying all the energy costs. Therefore, the building owner has no incentive to improve the building. The tenant may only have 4 years left on his lease, so he has no incentive to make those improvements. So we need to come up with a system where the improvements are shared in some effective way. And we've got a couple projects where that's a problem. And in this case, the building, in the one case we're looking at, in fact, we met with them today, we'll take a piece. For example, the roof insulation. The building needs a new roof anyway. The building owner ordinarily would take care of that. And so we work with the building owner on the roof insulation, but the tenant this happens to be a manufacturing operation, on process heat, which was the issue there.
You find that there are building owners or business owners, there's usually someone in that space who's interested in doing the right thing, to help, make it more energy efficient or do something better for the environment. So there is some incentive in terms of just doing the right thing and it varies a lot from building to building. It could be the building owner who's interested in making a difference, or it could be the tenants who are just asking for a space that's not so expensive. and building owners want to make them happy. So it requires some teamwork.
Absolutely.
You got to communicate.
Absolutely.
You got to ask for a building that's more energy efficient, and you got to let your tenants know you've got an energy efficient building, because there is someone who wants that in the building.
Yeah, and that gets back to some of the training we do. We started our training process usually with architects, but we're now working with builders, and we hope to get to the building owners and teach them a little bit about what the value to them, because in the long run they're going to be beneficial. They make a return on it as well.
They make a return on it, and they can keep the cost down for their tenants, which will make them happy. So what is the LEED system?
In all different types of LEED, they involve themselves in site planning, water management, energy management, materials, recycled materials. You can earn points by using recycled materials. The indoor environmental air quality, and innovation and design process. So that's how's the building look? And so there's an artistic value that you can earn points for. But if you've got these 6 different points, and only one of them deals with energy, you can actually get a LEED certified building that is not very energy efficient. And so that's one of the problems with LEED. And I should say LEED is the best known here, but there are competing systems as well. Green Globes is popular in Europe, and the building industry itself has come up with a green certification that we're just learning about.
Cutting edge, good. Yeah, and LEED is backed by USGBC, which is the United States Green Building Council.
Right.
So this is a national organization that has a very good understanding of buildings
Absolutely.
and energy and environmental design. So this is and we should mention too that LEED is really considered like a goal or a guideline.
Right.
It's not a strict regimen of construction, because if you're too strict, you might actually be doing something that's not environmentally or energy efficient.
Right.
So you need to take a look at what you've got and what you can do to make changes to make the best of what you've got.
Now, if we have a client who's interested in LEED, we'll look at the nature of it. Is it a new building, a retrofit? Is it an interior? Because they have LEED for custom interiors. So if you're a tenant, you can get a LEED certification. And for the building owner, if you're a building owner, you can get a LEED certification, irrespective of the tenant. And so what we do is, it depends on the type, and then we have the point count and what are the possible points that we could get. So if you're sited out in Hudson, say, public transportation is a problem, so you're not going to get any points for it being near public transportation. But and so we go down through the list and say what's possible. And then we can start with the building owner or the tenant and trying to figure out what to do.
Good. USGBC, we just mentioned, is the United States Green Building Council.
And for those interested, it's usgbc.org, and you can learn. There's actually a lot of good information there.
Yeah, if you're thinking about renovating your home or building a new home or doing something with a business building, start there. It gives you great ideas very quickly to get going.
And they're we're LEED trainers, and there are LEED training organizations in every state. We're actually, authorized by USGBC to do this. And so it's really a franchise that we have.
It's surprising to me who's getting LEED certified these days, or who is becoming a LEED accredited professional. I know someone who works for National Grid who became a LEED accredited professional, and someone who works in a real estate, large real estate business in Boston who offered this course to their employees, and they thought maybe 2 or 3 employees would come, and 20 employees came, including the CEO.
Right.
I mean, it's just such an attractive thing to learn these days, because you can use it in so many different ways, not just in your own home or your building, but in your business and in your understanding of sustainability, basically. So. And
we did, and some companies are coming on board. We actually did a whole series of training sessions for Fidelity in Boston, the building managers on greening the interiors, and there is a LEED certification. Whether any of their buildings are used that way remains to be seen, but at least
you've planted the seeds with a lot of the decision makers. Exactly.
Why should you pursue LEED certification? Firm guidelines, established accountability, systematic. You've got national benchmarks at which you can measure yourself. And there is a demand out there, and people begin to know LEED and want LEED.
Okay. Let's go quickly through the next slides until we get